Hello class 9. Today I am starting with a new chapter, that is vegetative propagation and micropropagation. Now, first we need to know what is vegetative propagation. New plants may be produced from vegetative parts also, like roots, stems and leaves. Now, in the last chapters we have learned about flower, and flower was the reproductive organ. So that means it was the sexual mode of reproduction in plants. But in plants, there are other ways also for their production, and that is from the vegetative parts of the plants, such as roots, stems and leaves. So this type of reproduction of plants carried out by humans is called vegetative propagation. That means the whole technique is artificial. Now, it can be dealt with either natural ways or artificial ways. Now, you have learnt enough about the natural methods of vegetative propagation in earlier classes. These include underground roots, example root tubers like dahlia, underground stems like bulbs, onion, rhizomes, ginger, tubers, potato, subaerial stems, runners, stolons, offsets, adventitious buds, bryophyllum, bulbils, agave, modified flowers. All these are called propagules because these are the various natural ways of vegetative propagation. But in this chapter, we are concerned with the artificial vegetative propagation. Now, what are the commonest ways? First is cutting, next is grafting, third is budding, and fourth is layering. Now, what is cutting? I hope you all have seen in your gardens, your parents, maybe those who are interested in gardening, they are cutting the stem of some interesting plant from other gardens, and they are putting that directly into the soil, and from that stem cutting the plants are grown, the new plants are growing. So cutting is removing a portion of the stem and fixing it in the soil to allow the growth of roots and buds growing into shoots. This is the most simplest way to get vegetative propagation. In many plants, stems are cut into small pieces and placed in moist soil to grow a number of plants of the same type. They strike root at the base and the adventitious buds grows up into shoots. Okay. Examples: rose, sugarcane, crotons, china rose, etc. In a few cases, as in lemon and tamarind, even a root cutting can yield a new plant. Now, till now we were talking about the stem cutting, but in these two plants, even the root cutting can yield a new plant. So this is an exceptional case. Clear? See, the stem cutting they have put inside the water and the adventitious root formation have started. Okay. Next is grafting or scion grafting. It is joining a part, that is stem or bud, of a living plant to another, causing it to grow as a part of the second plant. This is another definition which you have to learn. Now, what is the technique? We'll definitely come to that. In many cases, as in rose, mango, guava, a small shoot of a desired variety of fruit or flower is intimately fixed on the stem of another plant. Now you see, we need to know two terms. The plant receiving the bud or the shoot is called stalk. The twig fixed on it is called scion. Now these two definitions are very important because when you are studying grafting, you need to know these two terms, stalk and scion. The plant receiving the bud or the shoot is called stalk and the twig fixed on it is called scion. Now, you may see this diagram. Here we can see the scion part and the stalk part. In grafting, it is necessary that the two plants must be related. That means it should be of the same species, definitely, and the cambium layers of the two parts must come into very intimate contact so that growth may continue. The grafted points are then bound together with tape and the joint is covered with soft wax. In course of time, new cells developed in the cambium of scion and stalk form a close union. Grafting may be in the form of whip grafting or cleft grafting. Now, these two are the types of grafting. Now, you see, number A, this one is the whip grafting. Here, what they have done, they have cut the scion, that is to grow as a new plant, this one, and this is a stalk which was already there. Stalk means the plant which is receiving the new shoot, and this is the part which is coming from other desired variety, right? Now this is the stalk cut in a slanting position, and this is the scion, another slanting position cut have been made, and it has been tied by a tape where the cambium must come in contact with each other. Then only it will grow into the desired variety of the plant. And this is the cleft grafting, where you can see this is the cleft, and this, within this cleft of the stalk, the scion parts has been inserted. Okay, so these are the two ways how the grafting can be done. Another one is bud grafting. Now what is it? It is one in which a bud is used instead of a twig. Instead of a twig, the small part of the stem, a bud is used. Grafting roses is the commonest example of bud grafting. In this method, a bud is removed from the parent plant. Here it is removing the parent plant bud, and the base of the bud is inserted beneath the bark on the stem of the stalk plant from which the rest of the shoot has been cut out. Now this is that one, the stalk plant. Okay, and any extra bud that starts growing out from the stem of the stalk plant is removed, because that would bear the flower of the unwanted original kind. Because we are requiring, why we are doing this grafting? Because we are requiring the new desired quality, new desired variety. But if we are not removing the original buds which were coming out from the stem of the plant, then those original unwanted kinds will remain intact inside the parent plant. So we don't need that, right? So for that, all the unwanted original kinds has to be removed. Clear? Example, roses and some fruit trees. Clear? Next definition is the layering. It is a method in which a branch of the plant is covered with some material and supplied with water to produce roots. This is done in two ways, mound layering and aerial layering. Now this definition is important, and the two ways, mound layering and aerial layering. Now see, mound layering, this is the diagram. You please observe the diagram. In plants like grapevine, one of the lower branches of the plant is bent down, because the stems are very flexible and elastic to the ground and covered with soil some distance from the tip. Roots form in the covered part of the branch. That means this part which is under the ground, and then this branch may be cut off from the parent plant from here. The separated and rooted branch is now a new plant which can be grown anywhere. Okay, because here you can see the adventitious roots have formed. Clear? Now, aerial layering. Aerial layering we can find inside orange, guava, lychee, etc. It could be done. Now, the stem is girdled and covered with moist cotton, and to prevent evaporation, finally wrapped with a polythene. An earthen pot with a hole at the bottom is hanged from the branch above the ring to supply water. Adventitious roots arise above the girdle. After rooting, the stem is cut off below the girdle and planted into the soil. Now we'll see the diagram and I'll explain it. See the diagram over here. They have put over here the moist cotton. Then this is the water supply through this rope. It is coming through this from this earthen pot where there is a hole at the bottom, and this is the main plant, right? Now when it will be removed, we'll see some adventitious roots have grown, and we'll cut this part from here, and that will be a new plant. Now, what are the advantages of vegetative propagation? First of all, it is a quicker and more certain process. It produces new individuals with exactly identical qualities as the parent, which preserve the characteristics of the food crop or the flower crop. Plants which do not have viable seeds can be reproduced by vegetative propagation. Flowers produced are of superior quality. The desirable character of fruit can be maintained, which is not possible by plants raised by seeds, as they may show variations due to genetic mixing. So, all these 5 points are important advantages, but there are disadvantages also, like it does not produce new varieties, it leads to overcrowding around the parent plant, and it has very little possibility of dispersal. So these three are definitely the disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Now students, you can see over here table, this is the difference between sexual propagation and vegetative propagation. Now this point of difference is, they have given 6 points, all the 6 points, please go through the table. Okay. Now, economic importance of this artificial propagation. First of all, though, by growing the desired variety of a plant in large numbers, definitely it is helping out a lot of farmers, scientists, horticulturists. Okay, this is brought about in two manners: vegetative propagation and micropropagation. And another economic importance is by evolving new varieties of plants with desired characteristics. That means, suppose there are two plants of the same species, but we are getting two different kind of good qualities in two different plants. So we want those two qualities in one plant. So that is also important. They achieve this by hybridization, and that is a very, very important technique over here. Okay students, so next day we'll start from hybridization, which is a very important technique. Today, up to this, if you have any problem, every day I repeat it, please, you can ask me in the comment box. I'll surely solve your queries. Thank you.